Through my observation of toddlers, I found that almost all toddlers would barely actually interact with each other. They would play side by side with the same or similar objects, acknowledge others' presence, but they would rarely actually interact with one another. The children seemed very curious about the world. They were wandering around, moving from toy to toy, but you could tell they were still at a very selfish age where they would not want to share their toys or actually play with other toddlers. They would just prefer to play near them. What I read is that this is called parallel play. It's very common among toddlers to not want to interact much with other toddlers beyond just acknowledging them. Um, Once they've acknowledged their presence, they usually just went back to what they were doing before. For example, when watching children play in a sand pit, they would often sit next to each other with their shovels or trucks and play in the sand alone. If one decided to leave, the other toddler would often take the toy and start playing with it. And if a new toddler showed up, they would look at them, see what they were doing, and then return to what they were doing before. As for toddlers interacting with adults, they seemed scared to meet a new adult, often clinging on to the person who's familiar to them, like their mom, dad, grandparents. They were much more inclined to interact with another toddler, though, versus an adult, which makes sense, seeing as an adult is much larger and more assertive than a child. From what I've read, it's very common to have a toddler who's intimidated by adults. It's possible that your child could not wait to talk about their newest toy, but it's also possible to have visitors or company over and have your toddler hide behind your skirt or bury their face in your arms. For me, I recently started nannying this year, and when I arrive to their house in the morning, the children tend to hide behind their parents' legs until they become familiar enough or more comfortable with me, where they'll tend to leave their parents' side. And all the parents that I asked about their toddler said that their interactions were very normal to their child and that it was common for their toddler to prefer to play alone with slight interactions with other toddlers, and that they found at a younger age they tend to be very attached to their mother or father.